What's going on, everybody? Steven here, and today we are putting back on, because it's already been on the car, we're putting back on the cold air intake into the vehicle. So whenever you buy a cold air intake, usually a couple pieces are all the same. You're gonna have some tubing. I've already got half of it installed right here. You're gonna have an air filter. You're gonna have these little connector pieces, I don't know, joints, I think? I don't know, whatever these are called. And you're gonna have these clamps to hold it down. So no matter what you get, you're pretty much gonna get a combination of those usual pieces. Now, as I said before, I took it off to clean it. This one is an Injen. It does not require any oiling on the filter, so you don't have to re-oil the filter or anything. So this one, you just clean it with water and you're good to go. Let it air dry and put it back on the car. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So first things first, obviously you wanna take off the stock air box and stock filter. That was all done on my car a long time ago. So here we go, and we're just gonna start installing. So the first thing you're gonna do is this mass airflow sensor. On the Injen, it comes straight with this little connection right here. So it's a plug-and-play system. You put the mass airflow sensor right into here on the Injen for this car. This is the G35 again. So you plug it right into there. This right here is your backside of the connection for the crankcase crankcase pressure system. So you have your PCV on this side that relieves pressure. So you have all this, it goes back into here, and this side is what finishes that circuit or circle for it. So that connects right here on top. Your housing up here, that connects to the throttle body. Just put a clamp there. These two, tighten it down. As we come down, you have a connection right here. So this right here is a little rubber piece, and the whole thing turns. Its sole purpose is, it is literally just here to keep this and give it a little bit of play. So as the engine's going and it bounces up and down, you have a little bit of play there. Obviously we're going to tighten this down beforehand. And then this is the last piece that we haven't put on yet. So that is going to end up going right down here to finish it off. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the little fitting right here for this. Alright, so we're going to join on here, and don't forget, common error, mistake that I make all the time is make sure that these clamps are on before you go putting on your second hose, or else you are screwed. So now we're gonna go and put the second hose on right here onto the end. But one quick thing before we do that, so here's our air filter right here. And this right here, some of you might know what this is. This is called like an aqua sock or hydro shield. And all this does is this goes around your air filter right there. And it gives it extra protection in case water comes. I have another video up if you guys go look. If you go look at my history of videos, you guys will see I have a video down there that shows this, proves this actually works. So now that we get everything back on, I'm going to go through and tighten everything up. And these, you can use flatheads or an actual wrench. I like to use a wrench. I'll use a flathead at first, and then I'll use a wrench to go back around and to actually make sure, a wrench or a socket, I'll go back around to actually make sure that everything is tight like it should be. This one is not. So, tighten this up, good to go. Right here. Good. Good. And last but not least, on this car, there's one more of those little ones just like this. There's one more right down here that we need to make sure is also tight. This, of course, would be a lot easier if I wasn't cheap and I went out and bought ratchet wrenches, of course. All right, so that's tight. And also, down below is our filter. So down here you can see the air filter down here, and right here is our strap, our clamp that we already tightened up. This right here, of course, is the aqua sock that we talked about earlier that goes around it. And this is our final product after everything is installed. And for the location of the air filter, as you can see, it goes down there. So location, you can actually see it right. Oh, you can't see it today. So just as a recap, to go over a couple and really important things to make sure is, number one, make sure that you put your mass airflow sensor back in there. Like I said, this one is a tuned Injen intake for my car, so it actually came with a spot to just plug it right in. Some of them will actually have the stock piece where the mass airflow sensor sits in. Some pieces will actually have the stock piece that you put right here. And you have to use these little joints to put your stock one right back in there. So whichever you have, just make sure you put your mass airflow sensor back in your car. You can also buy a new one whenever you get your intake, and just to get everything new. This is an old car, so I'm gonna have to replace that eventually. Also, make sure your crankcase ventilation tube, your rear, goes right back into here. Really important. Also, on the throttle body, make sure we are not touching anything on the inside of the throttle body before you put this on. Make sure you're not touching anything on the inside of the throttle body. It's really sensitive and you can throw your entire car off just by touching that. So make sure you're not touching it and nothing's getting inside there. And lastly, of course, make sure everything is tightened back up before you turn your car on. Now, the directions for a lot of these cold air intake guides say that you'll need to take off the front bumper to be able to do this. And while it is a lot easier to get everything down there, the air filter and everything with the front bumper off, with my experience with the Infiniti, it's not necessary to take the front bumper off, and it's an unnecessary step that the directions say to take. The easiest way to do it is where your driver's side wheel is. Just pop back the little plastic piece where the wheel is right there, and just pop off the front part. You can take your wheel off, pop it off, and you'll be able to get access to everything you need. It's a lot easier usually than taking the front bumper off, just in my opinion. Feel free to also go watch some of my other videos. I talk about cold air intakes and whether or not they're worth it for your car and what they actually do. And I really appreciate everyone watching my video. Thank you. Have a great day. Peace.